Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. On Wednesday, Polish President Karol Nawrocki is set to meet U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House, with discussions expected to center on regional security and related issues. Now, to help us assess the significance of this meeting and the potential outcomes, we're joined now by Zbigniew Lewicki, Professor of American Studies at Cardinal Stefan Wyszynski University in Warsaw. Good to have you on the program. Welcome.
Welcome. Hello.
Let's set the stage here, Professor. We have Donald Trump and Karol Nawrocki. They met before, just as the elections were still in full swing. What are your expectations of these two men meeting? What do you expect to happen at that critical meeting at the White House?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be a critical meeting. I think the meeting has two sides to it. First is strictly internal. It's really a propaganda coup for the president to be received in the Oval Office so early in his own function as the president. And obviously enough, his followers will make most of it as a presumably a proof of his own and Poland's standing in Washington. But this is secondary. It's not really important. This will come and go. Now, the second and the much more significant side to the story is what they are going to talk about and how will they emerge from the meeting, satisfied, not satisfied, and so on. The point is that Nawrocki is an inexperienced politician, particularly in foreign affairs. This is his first trip abroad, and he decided to start on a high horse and begin with the most difficult partner. I mean, Trump is obviously a very difficult partner in all negotiations. And Nawrocki's chance, which so far has not materialized, is to be able to come up with something of interest to Trump. Not to talk about history, as he did during the televised meeting a few weeks ago, not to talk about the 1920 battle, not to talk about what happened in Wołyń and all that. It's all important, but it's a past history. The question is whether Poland, and in this case Poland's president, can really offer something to Trump that Trump doesn't know about already.
Right.
There's no point telling. Yes? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on that point, I want to ask on that because you said something interesting to Trump. So that, I think many observers, will be something usually connected with money, with investment. That's what piques Trump's interest. Now, Poland is spending one of the top spenders of NATO on defense, 5%. Some question if that's sustainable. I mean, that will be part of this conversation, surely. What could be next with American weaponry? But that becomes a little bit complicated, doesn't it? Because we still have that cohabitation with the government, the prime minister, and the president. So how do you think that's going to be tackled? Is this something that Nawrocki is even, let's say, qualified to speak on? As you said, foreign policy is still not really his forte.
Well, I mean, you touched upon a very delicate issue, which is the absence of representatives of Polish government during those talks. And I used to work for the foreign ministry in the 1990s and participated in several such meetings. This is the first ever in which the Polish president comes to Washington and without a Polish, at least deputy foreign minister, without Polish ambassador, without anybody from the Polish embassy, it's unheard of. And it clearly indicates, and I don't think there was a reason, there was a need to do it, that there is a very significant split in Poland between the president and the government. But this is an internal matter, and there is no point to show it to the entire world. Mm-hmm. As it is, the president, as you correctly pointed out, has no way to implement whatever they discuss with Trump. Mm-hmm. He may declare whatever he wants to declare, but the decision and the money of course, rests with the prime minister and various cabinet members. So that's why I'm not very optimistic about the overall result of this meeting.
All right. Interesting point there. And I just want to get your take on it as well. I mean, as we said, we see this rivalry between President Nawrocki and also Donald Tusk, the Prime Minister's cabinet here. How much of that, let's say, rivalry and the internal strife pushed around between these two sides, how much does that hurt now what's been achieved so far, really, by both sides in Poland on a security level? How much does that damage Poland's, let's say, place in the room at NATO, at different things, or is this just a temporary blip? How do you think that's going to be addressed here?
Well, so far nothing happened that would indicate a major danger to Poland as a country. So far, it's really, kind of domestic quarrel, so to speak, but no domestic violence, and I hope it will not develop into domestic violence. Nawrocki wants to find his place in Polish and international politics. He is moving very fast, probably too fast. He is overreaching in many areas. And I just hope that he finds a way to temper his own temperament and not try to achieve everything in 1 month or two. It's one thing for Trump to say that the war will be over in 1 week. It's another for the Polish president to believe that he can alter the political system. So, it's a good thing that he goes to the White House. It's a good thing that he has a meeting with the president. At the same time, we have to remember that this may be the only opportunity in the next, 4 or 5 years. President Trump does not receive foreign dignitaries too often. And there is no reason that he would see Nawrocki again in a year or 2 or 3. So Nawrocki has to make the most of it. And the only way, as I said, to make the most of it is to leave a lasting impression on Trump, to come up with something that would be new to Trump, not something that Trump knows all about, nature of Putin and trustworthiness or untrustworthiness of Putin. Trump knows it better than Nawrocki.
Okay, and just briefly at the end, I want to ask you a question as well on this. The idea here that also Nawrocki has said that he has a close relationship with Donald Trump. The whole Law and Justice Party, if we look at Duda, his predecessor also said that they're close to Trump, Morawiecki as well. We have Orban in the mix, Meloni also saying this. So, I mean, it seems to be there's a lot of rivalry between who is the closest ear to Trump. So is that really a valid point? Can Nawrocki be that voice, or what's your take on it? Just briefly at the end.
Well, he has a few people in Washington, Nawrocki does, and they arrange for the visit. And that's it. But, the final decision rests with the Polish government, not with the president. And our security depends on the United States. We know it. So we have to make sure that it's not endangered by images, that the contacts between Washington and Warsaw are substantial, that they don't boil down to sweet photos or whatever, but they boil down to some serious discussion. I'm not quite certain how well prepared Nawrocki is at this point to discuss serious international issues with the U.S. president.
All right. And on that note, as you said, he's got to make the most of it. We'll be watching this and see what does come out of this meeting. Look, at this point, thank you so much. That was our guest here, Professor Zbigniew Lewicki. Thank you. And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay tuned. Much more coming up right here on TVP World. Goodbye.